Good day, dear friends. Namaskar. Thank you for joining me on day 6, where we focus on unlocking bliss through the power of compassion. Today, we will build on what we covered yesterday, on expanding the heart. Now we will make use of that understanding and insight to go deeper, to delve into the experience of blissfulness that is innate to consciousness itself. This joy and blissfulness is not something you acquire from outside, but it's something that's natural to consciousness itself. It's not something you construct or make, something intrinsic to the nature of our being. It's like a divine gift to us. Now let's delve into what we might call the natural bliss of consciousness now. Now, to be conscious is to be aware, to know, to cognize, to experience. Consciousness is the faculty of knowing, the faculty of awareness, the capacity to illuminate and to know what is. In each moment of our being alive, we are conscious. We experience. There's no moment in which we do not have consciousness, but there's no moment in which our experiencing is absent. Even when we are asleep, even in deep dreamless sleep, consciousness, albeit very subtle, is present. That quality of luminosity and knowingness is always present. Our normal day-to-day consciousness is clogged up with thoughts and feelings, sensations, perceptions, imaginations, memories, all kinds. Such a consciousness is distorted and contorted, not abiding in its natural state. The problem is not that there's mental activity. The problem is that we get blindly entangled in that activity. We get totally obsessed with and invested in that river of thoughts and feelings and sensations, etc. And we cling so strongly to that activity that we build a whole identity around it. It's as if we allow consciousness to lose itself in its dynamic play. But the moment we withhold that permission to be lost, consciousness regains its natural abiding state, luminous clarity, knowingness. Or at least that sense of luminous clarity and knowingness becomes apparent to us. Although that luminosity is present in every moment, even in the moments when we are totally caught up and lost in our thoughts, it's not immediately apparent, it's not clear to us. But the moment we are able to just withhold permission for consciousness to be all clogged up and simply rest and return and rest within its very nature, consciousness in its natural transparency and luminosity becomes clear and obvious to us. And as we come to recognize this more and more, we also come to realize that there's a natural and intrinsic bliss to this nature of consciousness that we are. Just as we lose touch with the natural luminosity and transparency of awareness, we also lose touch with the natural bliss of this awareness. But the more we recognize and relax into this nature of knowing, the more we also recognize and taste the bliss of that knowing, the natural bliss of consciousness. Ancient Indian texts have a word for it, a Sanskrit word called ananda. Ananda. Ananda refers to this infinite, unbounded, innate kind of blissfulness of awareness. In our day-to-day experience, we do have a taste of that. When we have this resonant ease and pleasure in our bodies and our minds, and something pleasurable is experienced, whether through our bodily senses or through our intellectual senses, we experience this ease and comfort and pleasure that we call sukha in Sanskrit, a congenial mental feeling, sukha. When this sukha is experienced in its infinite and boundless form, we call it ananda. Sukhang anandam, anandam. Infinite sukha is ananda, bliss. So with consistent and persistent practice, we can realize this natural blissfulness, natural state of our consciousness, and be established in that. And it becomes more and more our mode of being. It's as if we become a river of joy and blissfulness bubbling up from inside, spreading this sweet state to those around us. And over time, this joy can merge into a boundless ocean of bliss beyond anything we can imagine. And we can call this ocean of blissfulness, for want of a better word, ecstasy. And this is something that can be experienced, especially in deep states of unified consciousness, absorbed consciousness. Ultimately, the source of this blissfulness, the source of this ecstasy, comes not from ourselves. Although it's innate to our consciousness, it's only like that because it reflects the nature of God, who is beyond all that is created. And so ultimate source and final home of our joy is not in ourselves, but in God. But because through His grace, we are able to reflect His joy in our being. But that is something that we'll explore in another module. For now, I'd just like to invite you to this meditation practice to activate the river of joy in your experience to whatever degree that is possible. So may I invite you to sit in your meditation posture once again, upright, relaxed, feet flat on the ground, shoulder width apart, hands on your lap, eyes closed. Breathing in and out naturally, easefully, and allowing your whole being to settle into a stillness, peace, and openness like never before. As you breathe in and out, smile into your heart. Let your heart vibrate in a warmth, in a caring sense of caring and acceptance, in a glow of compassion. Compassion for oneself, compassion for others, wishing that I and all beings be free of anguish and affliction. As you continue to breathe in and out, allow your heart to expand, becoming of the same taste, same nature as the sky. Vast, luminous, clear, unobstructed. Breathing in, see the sky entering into your heart. As you breathe out, let your heart expand into the sky, even vaster, bigger, more boundless than ever before. This percolating rhythmic expansion of your heart into the sky and the sky into your heart. Melting away all divisions and separation, merging into this unbounded space, sky-like luminous consciousness. The sky of your heart, shining in all directions like the sun, with light and warmth. Feeling utterly relaxed, still, awake and fresh, clear and knowing in a boundless way, with no center and no circumference, as infinite empty space, luminous and free. Rest there for a few moments. Now dive into the unseen center of this open awareness, as if you're fully diving in, plunging in, gravitationally pulled in into the very center of this awareness. And taste what sweetness and bliss lies within that center. Then expand out of this centerless space into ever vast, inconceivable open clearing. In all directions there is no boundary, no limit, no obstruction. Taste sweetness and bliss there. And then once again, do a deep dive back into the very center of awareness. The centerless center. Quicker than the speed of light, you dive right in, zoom in. Encountering and becoming one with this explosion of bliss. And then expanding out, exploding out, expanding out into infinite, boundless, boundaryless space with no periphery, no center. Merging into that infinite, limitless blissfulness. So allowing this dynamic dive and expansion go on for a short while. Deep dive and big expansion, alternating. You can alternate it with your breathing. In breath, deep dive. Out breath, big expansion. And gradually allow all movements of consciousness to cease, come to a stop. And just rest your awareness nowhere and everywhere. Rest like you've never rested before. Sheer, complete surrendering to what is, to the suchness of this moment. Free and blissful, be as you are. Utterly spontaneous, natural, clear, blissful. Now gradually finish up this meditation and open your eyes. Well done. So there you have it. Expanding your heart into the river of joy, allowing that joy to bubble up, permeate your entire experience from moment to moment. So thank you, dear friends. We've completed day 6. Tomorrow is day 7 and the final day, where we shall be integrating all that we have learned in the past 6 days into a complete practice for you. So thank you, take good care, and be blessed. Namaskar.